We are starting Penacony.
So first we sit down on the express and prepare for the jump. We then see these images and suddenly we wake up in another room. This is so exciting. It looks so cool. We then meet a woman and follow her down a corridor. We go down this hallway that has heaps of doors and we learn that the woman's name is Acheron. The world is different in this weird dream reality and we can actually walk on walls as we explore. So we meet a bunch of characters we've never seen before and none of the names are revealed to us. This is the girl who's on the current banner and it's just really cool. I actually like her design. Lucky me, I have Aventurine. Recently I got him 18 hours before the banner ended and everyone got Dr. Ratio. So it's pretty cool seeing them in the story. We've seen Silverwolf before, but I actually have no clue who that is. The mech and the robot suit is just so cool. I've seen trailers and skits of these two. They look pretty cool. The one on the left kind of looks like the Welkin lady. So we run down a hallway and meet a bellboy. And then we start talking to Acheron again. She asked if we've met before and she asked us a lot of weird questions and the text changes to red. She asked if we would still continue our journey if we knew the ending to it. She finally asked if we remember her once more.
That's where we all find our answers.
We finally wake up on the express, shaken up from the experience, but the journey is over and we finally arrived in Penacony. We check on March 7th and then get off to see the Grand Reverie.
Aside from that, I have to say the family has been really accommodating.
We meet someone from our dream and it's the bellboy. His name is Misha. We get to the front desk and find out that there's an issue with the reservations as our name isn't on there and it's Dong Hung's instead. We meet another new named character named Aventurine. And he's part of the IPC strategic department. We find out he was invited by a character named the Watchmaker. We make friends with Aventurine and...
Ali, just a moment. The family cannot allow guests to enter a dream while bearing burdens.
And we meet Sunday, the most handsome man in Penacony. So we meet two new characters, Sunday and Robin, and their siblings, who are both part of the family and represent them. We talk to Sunday and Aventurine and get 20,000 credits off Aventurine. Then we go catch up with Robin and March. It turns out Robin and Sunday were here to help us with the room mishap, and now we're free to go and explore the hotel. We meet up with Ali and she gives us the Dreamscape Pass. As we go through this Trailblaze mission, more pages are unlocked, and we can also use stickers and put them inside the scrapbook. We get stickers from exploring Penacony. We take the elevator and head to the lobby of the Reverie. Himiko and Whelp talk off to the side and discuss whether one of the past nameless has called the express for help. We find out that the family didn't send the invite, but someone else did. We talk to Will and Himiko and then head straight to our room. And find Aventurine inside. As it turns out, he gave us this room so that we could stay here. Aventurine starts to get too close for comfort.
The game has already begun. Allow me to make you an offer. One you can't refuse. No reason to choose otherwise. And no other choice.
Hello there.
Huh?
And we meet Acheron in person who comes to save the day. Thanks to Acheron, Aventurine leaves and we just talk with her. We discuss if we've met somewhere and she eventually leaves. We finally head into the dream pool and start to experience the real Penacony, which is inside Golden Hour.
Please relax. Feel the ebb and flow of your body.
We see so many cool images of some of the dreamscapes and memoria within Penacony, and we get ready to see the true Reverie. As we dive into the dream world, Dr. Ratio is introduced and we see him talking to Aventurine. Some Aventurine lore is dropped and the numbers on his neck are discussed. We find out a little bit about Aventurine and the serial number on his neck, but nothing too big is revealed just yet. So we finally wake up in this dreamscape, which looks a lot like the room from the first part of the quest. We hear Misha's voice and run over to him and are greeted by this giant hallway inside of a painting. We enter one last painting and end up falling through the sky in Penacony. We're then found by Robin and Sunday, who help us get accustomed to our first trip in the real Grand Reverie. We talk to March 7th, who tells us about the Dreamscape store, and we head there immediately. We arrive at the store and meet an eyeball named Dr. Edward, who introduces us to our first Dreamscape Memoria. We see Pom Pom, and it's expected that we are seeing from the eyes of Akavili, the trailblazing Aeon. We're given a bit of lore about Akavili, and we find out that someone blew up the train into 2 pieces. At the end of it, we talk to Dr. Edward, who tries to sell us another one, but we end up leaving to explore the rest of Penacony.
Don't even think about running away. You stowaway.
We get into a fight to help her, and meet another new character named Gallagher. We learn that the girl's name is Firefly, and she's actually a performer, and she offers to guide us around Penacony. After this, we got a bunch of Starjades and started following Firefly. We follow Firefly around to a bunch of different stores, and we find out that the watchmaker could have potentially been a nameless just like us, and discover something in the eye of Clocky. We quickly take a commemorative photo with Firefly, and then we try and yank out the eyelash thing from Clocky. It's an origami bird. Firefly brings us to the Grand Theatre, which used to be a prison in the real world. We continue exploring with Firefly, who finally brings us to a casino or arcade game place, and gets us 10 free tokens, that way we can play and get some prizes. We have a bunch of fun with Firefly, who then reveals what seems to be her true intentions. She reveals to us that there's been a man following us with blue hair and green eyes. We're then greeted by one of our old pals, Sampo Koski. We chat with Sampo for a little while, and then follow him as he shows us another side of Penacony. We step into an arcade game and come out as a little cartoon character. We participate in this game and get a precious chest right at the end of it. We collect some items along the way and go back to Dr. Edward to go inside a dream that Sampo has prepared for us. We find ourselves in Bellowbog with trash cans that have arms and legs. We meet a trash can named Satana and get 3 proof of truths so that we can go and stop the Trash King. The Trash King seems to be Sampo, and we turn into a giant trash can to stop him. Firefly then pauses the dream and we go back to the front of the Dreamscape sale store. Sampo warns us that not everything might be as we seem, and turns out that Firefly has been lying to us this whole time, so we go to find her. It turns out that Firefly really is a stowaway, and she leads us to a secret base that is being rebuilt within the Dreamscape. But before we get there, we're stopped by Clocky, who tells us that Misha is in trouble and leads us to him. We find Misha and Acheron surrounded by gang members and help them out by using emo tuning. We chat with Acheron about how she ended up with the situation and were thanked by Misha, who then joins us on the Astral Express as a visitor. Firefly leads us to a cafe and manhole cover. Meanwhile, Sparkle and Aventurine have a talk and argue back and forth. After following Firefly, we're led to a part of the hotel that hasn't been finished renovating, and we get led to a secret base. As we run around, we get into a couple of fights and solve some puzzles.
Heard of this song? It's
Firefly takes us to this beautiful location and tells us a little bit about herself. It turns out she has this disorder which slows the movements in the body and came to the dreamscape so that she could live freely. After taking a photo with Firefly, the rest of the Astral Express family decides to meet up and discuss what they found out so far. We head back to the lobby and encounter Sampo on our way back to going to the real reverie. It turns out Sampo was never here after all and was a disguise used by Sparkle to lure us to show us the real Penacony. We wake up in a place that looks like the rooms on Penacony, except it's different, and we keep hearing the names Mikhail over and over again.
You're really here too?
We find Firefly and wander around with her in the hallways to look for an exit. After getting trapped in an endless room, we get ambushed by a boss and meet Black Swan for the first time properly, who helps us defeat it. Black Swan uses her defeat this technique to shatter the ground and use a giant hand to tame the beast. Black Swan deals the final blow and breaks the TV, sending us back to the real world, and we wake up to go and join the Astral Express in the lobby. We quickly talk to Silverwolf over the phone and all decide to go back into the dream world so that we can investigate further. We find Acheron inside and we explore around with Black Swan until we find Firefly. We catch up with her, but it turns out the thing that we fought earlier was chasing her and hunting her down. What seems to be either a death or a dreamscape death, Firefly has been slain and completely turns into bubbles in our arms. After finding some charred corpses, we go around in an investigation and end up back where Firefly was killed. By following a trail Black Swan makes for us that uses the remembrance that Firefly left behind. At the end of our investigation, we come across a Celeron hunter in a suit named Sam. We get into a fight and leave Acheron behind to fend them off while we go and talk to Black Swan, an adventurine who suddenly appears. After sending us away mid-battle, we awaken in a familiar room at the start of the journey and meet up with Aventurine. Aventurine reveals to us that Acheron isn't actually a Galaxy Ranger, but is an Emanator who brings death and finality. Aventurine gives us a choice so that we can find out the truth about Penacony, and we eventually choose it after interrogating Black Swan. We walk with Aventurine, who leads us back to the room where we first met and find a shocking discovery inside. And we find Robin dead in the bathtub, similarly to how Firefly died. She has a cut on her chest.
No reason to choose otherwise. And no other choices.
And ends up fading away into bubbles similarly. Meanwhile, there's Robin and Sunday discussing a conversation, as it turns out that Robin was a doppelganger disguised used by Sparkle.
And when that time comes, the heathen will realize they're but a mere mortal, doomed to descend into the netherworld.
We find out that Sunday's waiting for the perfect time to strike his vengeance on whoever killed his sister, and is waiting patiently to join their side. This finally ends part 1 of Penacony. We get a like cone, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. Wi-Fi is disconnected!